We'd like to start soon.
Break your mama's back. When a problem comes along, you must whip it before the cream sets out too long. You must whip it when something's going wrong. You must whip it. Now whip it into shape. Shape it up. Get straight. Go forward. Move ahead. Try to detect it. It's not too late to whip it. Whip it good. When a good time turns around, you must whip it. You will never live it down unless you whip it. No one gets away until they whip it. I say whip it. Whip it good. I say whip it. Whip it good. Correct that whip. Give the pass a slap. Step on a brick. Break your mama's back. When a problem comes along, you must whip it before the cream sets out too long. You must whip it when something's going wrong. You must whip it. Now whip it into shape. Shape it up. Get straight. Go forward. Move ahead. Try to detect it. It's not too late to whip it into shape. Shape it up. Get straight. Go forward. Move ahead. Try to detect it. It's not too late to whip it. Whip it good.
Where I hear the music, close my eyes, feel the rhythm, wrap around, take a hold of my heart. What a feeling, feels believing. I can't have it all now, I'm dancing for my life. Take your passion and make it happen. It just come alive. You can dance right through your life. Now I hear the music, close my eyes, I am rhythm. In a flash, it takes hold of my heart. What a feeling, feels believing. I can't have it all now, I'm dancing for my life. Take your passion and make it happen. It just come alive now, I'm dancing through my life. What a feeling. What a feeling.
All the coaches, can we please have you settled in? Because our speaker is ready.
It just come alive. You can dance right through your life. What a feeling. What a feeling.
Hello? Okay. We now have Daria, who's going to take us through an integrated approach to physical and technical training, which is the need of the hour. It's going to be a continuation of yesterday's session, and we'll see a lot more practical things today. Daria, let's have it for her. Guys, let's welcome her.
Morning. Morning. Do you hear me? Am I on? Okay. Awesome. Hope you enjoyed the first two sessions. Hope you had a quick break and we're ready to start. So today I have Namita and Vakin joining me. And one of them is the national under 12 champion. Come over, guys. Come over, come over, come over. Can you guess who is the champion? No, those are two? Anybody knows the guys? No? Okay, you can come start in front of me. We're going to start with a warm-up because every session starts with a warm-up, one way or the other. Come stand in the middle behind her. Yeah, behind her. Awesome. So you're going to start shuffling low until the singles line and then to the other line. Relax the arms. And keep going sideways. Stay low in the knees. Stay like an Eiffel Tower. If you ever seen a picture, it's proud and tall. Nice. Now, when I give, keep going. I didn't say you're stopping. So when I give a visual signal like this, from open palm to closed, they have to switch the direction they're moving in. So what does that mean? If you're going, you're going, and then you're changing, and I do this, we go to the other direction. And we continue, okay? You ready? Keep going. And we go. So generally speaking, we do warm-ups with players or without players. We give them traditionally warm-ups like kicks back, knees high. Yeah, those are pre-athletical exercises, or straight legs, scissors. They have little to do with the movement on court, very little. This is something that we use. Morning. Keep going. A little bit higher intensity. Let's go a bit faster. Hop, hop, hop. They were asking me if they're going to get tired. What do you think? Hey, eyes here. Up, eyes here. Okay, why do I give visual signal and not a sound? Tennis implies a tennis ball, right? And usually when we're... are you here? Okay, let's take a break. So usually when we're playing tennis, we respond to visual signal, right? The ball is not flying over to me and saying, hi, I'm here. So neither should the coach. I want them to respond to the ball. I want them to see it all the time. So I want them to see me when I give them the impulse. We can go to the green cone. Guys, quicker. Come on. Okay, so the first movement was lateral, side to side as a shuffle. Now we're moving to the next one. It's a crossover, the most important step when I change direction. I use the cones because I don't want them to approximately land somewhere. I want them to make a wide step and continue moving forward. Okay, guys, let's go. Yeah. Don't be shy. There is no way you're going to do it wrong. There is no way you're going to do it wrong. So you go with the outside leg, over. Yep, let's go. Good, split step, because we're changing, right? Up, other leg, and keep going. So keep going. I'm talking to the coaches. So you see that they have never done this before. I can assume that their warm-up is usually... Does it really get me prepared for tennis? Does it get me mentally ready? Yeah, you see, how is he going to be running after the ball? So I want to keep going again. Let's do it a little bit quicker and fluid. Let's go. So I want my warm-up to mimic what I'm going to be doing with them on tennis court. It does not exclude the fact that some player might be injured on the shoulder, and the physio gave them all kind of external, internal rotations with a resistance band. That's something else. That's very specific. This, we're talking about general patterns on the court, okay? So as tennis coaches, you can help your S&C coaches a lot if you do these basic movements on court before the tennis practice, during the drills, etc. This is how we're going to integrate the physical training and important, you see, kids like to like push on each other and go right behind each other when they do the drills. Make sure that there is space, all right? Because we want free movement. Okay, let's take sticks. I have brooms here. You can get agility sticks, and we're gonna take them on the shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna give this one to you in a second. So I want you to go slow from the net to the baseline, doing step in, backhand. Step in, forehand. Rather simple. Imagine that you have a racket in the hand. Let's go, next to each other. Okay, keep going. Next to each other, you have enough space. It's wide. The court is wide, so don't be in front of each other. Keep going. Yeah. Split. Step. Turn. Forehand, backhand. Exactly. Yeah, forehand, backhand. So let's observe. What do we see here? First of all, as soon as we take the racket out of their hands, they're completely lost. That's not great. That's not great because that means that there is too much closed training, you know, there is too much association with the tennis racket. We want them to be able to shadow with the hand, with the stick, to understand generally the movement. You can go do the same thing once again for it. Next thing, I'm noticing, hey, step and I immediately get up. It's step and I push. It's step and I push through, okay? I don't get up immediately because then the ball goes up in the ceiling. Keep going. Okay. It's starting to look more like a ground stroke, huh? Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let's move to the alley. I really like to use the tram rails because they, for the kids from that age and up, it basically mimics the distances, the first distances that we covered. So I'm gonna go from inside here, stick is on my shoulder. Stick gives me sensory feedback, we're gonna talk about this in a second, to keep the posture straight. If I do it without the stick, I might go like that. If I do it with the stick, I'm most likely gonna stay straight because there is no way to go when I'm holding it. So, split, step out, okay? That would be preparation for which stroke? For which stance? Forehand and? If I play it like this? What is this? Open stance, thank you very much. Okay, split, prepare. Split, prepare. Yeah. I think guys are really confused. I promised them fun and now we're doing this. I'm sorry guys, soon it's gonna be a game. Yeah, split and open. Hop, split and open. So right now I'm isolating only the first step. I'm not doing the full stroke. I want to see that they do the split and then the foot moves out. Ah, good, very good. And the move out. So now, if we talk about integrated approach to physical and technical training, all the S&C coaches are gonna recognize this movement right now. Okay, a split step, a lunge. Thank you, we talked about this, yes. In tennis, that same movement is an open stance, okay? It's important to make that connection for yourself and for the players, that those are the same movements. Thank you. We can leave the sticks because those are boring and we can take the basketball. One of you on that side, one stays with me. Sticks to the side, put them away, put them away. Okay, so yesterday we did some drills with the basketball. I love the basketball for games. So we're gonna do in the small court, one of you, running, go. One here, yes. Okay, so we're gonna play a small tie break as a warm-up game. Incredibly important in tennis is to be able to turn, yeah, my rotational power. So, now, I'm gonna push you back, everything with a bounce. Okay, and you're gonna attack me. Now we play a few points, you can step in. We play a few points. Now this is fun. So there is a lot of variations that you can come up with, okay? You can do with a tennis ball, to loosen up the arm. You can do with the basketball to work on the trunk rotation. You can take a heavy ball when you have players from 14 up because it's gonna be harder to throw, so it's gonna be a lot more engaging on the core. So this already gives me some clues on what I possibly need to work on in my tennis practice. Observe the players. Think of this as a warm-up on a small court. I think they're pretty good. It might have been the warm-up, who knows? Okay, but I see that they're not trying to score. So let's play best of 3. You play 3 points. Who wins the most of the points wins this game, and then we're gonna continue on with the workshop. Okay, shoelaces. So when you observe tennis players on tour that have extensive teams, those teams usually work in synergy, right? So we might not know because we've never been on tour with them, but we assume that the physical coach, fitness coach, the physio, the technical coach, the sparring partner of, say, team of Sabalenka, that they know what each of them is doing, and they're doing it in synchrony, in synergy together. It's not so difficult to do that with club setting or with academy setting because you see those people every day anyways. But somehow, in my experience, wherever I go, it's rarely the case that physical coaches know what is happening on court and tennis coaches know what is happening in the gym. So we're going to go through a lot of exercises today that you can do for physical training on court. But keep in mind that this is the way, this is approach, how to help each other and make each other's lives easier, okay? By integrating it together. So the purpose, so what's the score? Guys, you're still keeping the ball in the rally. I want to see you win. Come on. That's out. That's out. 1-0. Let's go. So that was the warm-up that we went through. Quickly, you see that it can be done quite much faster. We took some time. So the purpose of this workshop, as I said, is to introduce integrated physical and technical training system. You see some examples from a Dutch player in Germany to introduce sensory learning. So again, speaking of the feedback, and to show some practical examples of how to do it with your players. So let's first clarify what is what. Most of the coaches' educations, what's the score now? 2-1? Who won? Nice. Okay. You can take a sip of water. I'm going to ask you to come back in a second. So most of the coaching development systems, like most of the federations, use the 4 performance factor system. So you know that when we're developing a player, we develop them, or we try to develop them in all of these 4 aspects. Now, yesterday, when we were looking at the constraint-led approach, where do you think we were if we were, there's a little bit of a black hole there, but which of the 2 aspects were we trying to integrate together? Any ideas? So we were putting, yeah? Physical and tactical, okay. Possibility, right? Technical and physical, that's what we're going to do today. What else did we do yesterday? It was about decision making, right? And it was about game-based approach. It was about how it looks in the actual game situation. You could argue, right, that we did a lot of things. Everything you're doing on court is going to be physical, right? It's going to be difficult. But I would say that we're more in the bottom between mental and tactical, or integrating those 2, because they had to be thinking, right? And they had to be making decisions about the play. The second one is the tactical, the first one is mental. Now today we're going to stay up there. Why should we integrate? So we know from educational system that way we engage kids much more. We're talking right now about the group of the category between 10 and 14. When we integrate, when we cross-sect different disciplines, we get them more engaged, okay? It gets them more interested into things. In the context of tennis, we develop movers, okay? Yes, we develop players, but we also develop movers and we develop thinkers. So we don't want to be bluntly working on one aspect at a time. And we know from research that the skill acquisition, so how fast they learn, becomes faster. Okay? Another few concepts to understand before we go further with practical things. There is a difference between general fitness and sport-specific skills. So when we're talking about general fitness, in the context of young players, we have under 12 players here, it's developing an overall athletic capacity. It's developing generally that they can throw, they can run, they can stop, they can jump and sprint and skip, right? It's all of those things. Think of the kids that age, they're usually unstoppable. Even after the tennis practice, they're going to want to run. So I'd like to see it with my colleague back in Latvia as organized chaos, right? You want to encourage a lot of movement. You want to integrate a lot of different sports because at that stage, you want to develop them as much as possible in every possible direction. You don't want to limit them on the tennis alone. Now, sport-specific training is usually related to specific qualities that the athlete needs for their sport. So enhancement of performance, right? That's sport-specific. There is millions of videos online, on Instagram that you can find with the most crazy BOSU exercises with resistance and weights at the same time and trying to mimic the sport. When we talk about the kids of that age, we're not going to be specializing too early. Now, that might sound a little bit controversial, what I'm going to say right now, but sport-specific training is a small part of performance enhancement, okay? That's for the kids, in the context of how we understand it with professional athletes, is not going to be applicable. But we can do tennis movements without much of resistance on courts to help them understand basic concepts. What I understand under basic concepts? We all know that it's sometimes difficult to get the kids low in their knees, right? It's heavy. The knees don't want to bend. When they're growing, all of this is super tensed and weak. Now, if I'm doing that with the basketball, you saw that this happens quite naturally because I need to push the ball. That is how we're going to accelerate their performance on court. This is how we're going to accelerate how they learn the skills for tennis faster. Now, another important concept is the long-term athlete development. So again, we're talking about the fundamentals moving to developing. So you start from the bottom, the very small kids, what we call blue in the mini tennis. Those who are not looking at, they don't have physical training yet. Then we have fundamentals, 5 to 9 with boys, 5 to 8 with girls, and then we have developing stage up until age of 12. So we're going to be looking today mostly in that group of developing players. Okay, that is an interesting model to study, both for the players and both for the tennis coaches and the strength and conditioning coaches. So, key point, physical training is not about performance enhancement. It's about building the foundation for future technical mastery. Now we're going to look at the serve mechanics example. This is the kid that I started working with just a month ago, and this was probably our... Can we play the video? Yeah. This was only the third session together. And we're going to look at the sequencing of service mechanics. So you see she has a cone behind her. Okay. This is the starting position of a serve. I'm pushing on the back leg. We're using the tennis ball because it's easier to throw overhead than to match the tennis ball with the racket. And here we're continuing with the tennis racket. So we talked about feedback yesterday, and we said that it's a very important strategy to remain silent during your sessions. Now, we're going to look in how feedback can only not be verbal or facial expressions, but how it can be also sensory, how we can use different types of equipment, again, coming back to manipulating the task, and help players develop faster, help players learn those movements quicker just by changing the environment. Here, in this case of this drill, I'm not even talking to her. I'm explaining and showing her what I want her to reproduce. So, important to understand, the movement that we do is based, or like the quality of the movement that we execute is based on the information that we receive. Okay, we're gonna come back to that one, no worries. And every human being receives the information through 7 sensory systems, through 7 sensors. Now, we look, that's the visual. We listen, that's auditory. We feel, that's tactile. Vestibular, that's our brain of how we find balance. There is proprioceptive, it's body position from proprioceptive receptors in our skin and our muscle. And the last one, I put together the taste and sense. That does not really apply for us. This is not relevant today. So as we develop them physically, we need to keep in mind that they're going to be receiving information through all of those sensors. When we did the warm-up, remember I did this because I want them to also develop already receiving the feedback visually. The application in tennis, we track the ball. When we say about the players, like Sinner, that are incredibly talented in anticipating or receiving the visual signal, seeing the ball very quickly. Proprioceptive is feeling of the racket and of your hands and feet in the space. Very important for tennis players as we talk about time and space concept and maintaining orientation. Now, that's what we're coming to. Sequencing is very important when we're talking about technical training because we need to go from receiving information to understanding the implication of that movement, or understanding what is asked from us, and then setting up the reaction and the response. There was an interesting study that was presented just a few weeks ago in World Coaches Conference in Vilnius by Caroline, and they have found that the most important thing to train when we talk about serve is timing. So the rhythm of pushing off and jumping in, again, we could talk about the sequencing. That is the most important component that is going to determine how fast the serve is going to go. So it's about putting that whole movement in a sequence and timing it well, and not just purely having a very strong arm or a very high jump, how it's normally has been understood. So now we're going to go for a few specific movements for the serve, and I'm going to invite both of you to come over here. So the standard for under 12 is to be able to throw the ball, the tennis ball, from the baseline over the other baseline. Oh, you were surprised, huh? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to come with that ball, each in the service box, and we're going to do a few overhead throws with your dominant arm. Just see how far it goes. Yeah, throw the ball. One here, one there. Yeah, let's go. Ball. Easy, huh? Let's start. Ooh. Let's start moving back. Yeah, let's start moving back. Take a step back. Oh, we have a lefty here. That's going to be interesting. Yep, balls, balls, balls. There was one ball. Yep, keep moving back. Let's see if you can get it still over the baseline. Good throw. National champion out here, huh? Ball. Okay, so a few key points of the throw. We start from the legs. I want them to be loading on the back leg, just like we would be doing with the serve. Next comes the rotation of the trunk, of the chest, and then comes the coordination of the arm. If you see the player throwing the balls and the tribunes and all over the place, it might be because they're not aiming. Okay, it might be because they're not aiming. Another thing is important to add in the overhead throw, especially when we practice with the very small kids, the pronation of the arm. So my thumb should be pointing to the outside after I let go of the ball. Let's give it a try. Let's see. Can you get over the baseline and turn the thumb out? Yeah, exactly. One more try. One more try. Okay, so in the first video that we saw, Eva was touching the cone with the ball. That's a really easy way how to introduce a certain baseline, I guess, from where I want her to start. So instead of telling her push from back leg to the front leg, I'm just going to put the cone, and she's going to touch the cone, so she's automatically going to be on her back leg and throw forward. Let's do one more throw. Yeah, I believe you guys can get it over the baseline. It goes high, but just not enough. Well, we have something to train, huh? You're gonna go back home and you're gonna tell your coach we're gonna throw a lot of balls. Can I ask you to grab the medicine ball, the black one? Yep. Okay, so one of the exercises that scientists, that the paper we were referring to showed, was a few different throws with the med ball that can help us, A, time the movement better, okay? B, improve the strength of the joints. So the first next sequence that we're going to be doing is we're going to be pushing the ball over our head with the dominant arm, okay? And very important is, if I serve feet together, okay, from this platform, it's important that my back leg ends up below my shoulder. If I serve from the platform serve, it's the same thing, okay? My shoulder and my knee or my ankle still end up in the same line, okay? So I'm gonna ask you to do it. You're gonna take the ball, whichever, I think you are stepping together. So from here, you're gonna try and push the ball as much as possible upwards. Yeah, you throw it, but you go upwards to the ceiling, okay? Yeah. Push. Okay. It slipped a little bit away. Let's try a few more times. So looking at the position of the feet, bending the knees. Yep, bending the knees and push. Okay, again. Shoulder and. That one's clean. Yeah, that was really good. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to take a tennis ball one more time in your hand. Now, as we're talking about different sensory systems, we can develop proprioceptory sensitivity, so proprioception, the understanding of my limbs, of feeling limbs in the space, very well when we do the same movement with non-dominant arm. So I'm gonna ask you to throw with your wrong arm now. You can do the same. I think you can do the same. Yeah, go. Okay, let's give it a try. Do you ever play with your non-dominant arm? Now you're gonna go back to your coach and you're gonna tell your coach, I'm gonna play with left now. Yep, let's throw a few more balls. Come on, guys. We're looking at you. That was going almost over the net. Are you sure you're not right-handed? No? Looks good. Okay, so the moment they throw with non-dominant arm, a few things that I want to emphasize. The other arm is not dead, okay? It's pointing direction I want to throw, okay? So when I'm going to be throwing with non-dominant arm, just like when I do it with my good arm, I'm pointing in that direction. Let's give one more ball. Let's do it one more time. Yes, exactly, running. Point. Yeah, and throw. So this movement is the simplest movement out of all possible variations that we can be doing with the physical training. Tennis ball is light, okay? Overhead throw is something that every player should be able to do at any time of their career, even when they're 5. This is a little bit more advanced. So that's why I'm always starting from a simpler one to a more difficult one. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing, but now with your non-dominant arm. Yes, exactly. And push. Okay, it's okay that it's sliding off. Take a wide grip, push it from the shoulder. Nice. So 2 kilos is an optimal weight at that age. We're not trying to, again, enhance, right? We're not trying to get them hyper strong. We need her to find the rhythm and focus on the legs. So the moment when we get the racket in the hand, it falls together. I like this one. And the third one is always the charmer. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you to grab the sticks again, wherever you left them. And before I do the next exercise, I'm gonna do something in preparation. So I'm gonna ask you right now, standing on the right leg for you, on the left leg for you, to just lean forward on one leg. Try. Okay, that's good. Do the same thing, but for you, like with the surf. When you surf, and then you land forward. Try. No, without the stick. Okay, right leg, and imagine you're serving, and then you go forward. Try. Okay, so I don't know how many of your players, but for me with Eva and maybe another 100 of that age, a lot of times when they surf, they end up like a shrimp, okay? So you're gonna take the stick behind your back. Yeah, exactly. One hand in the neck, one hand in the lower back. Let's turn around, let's show them how it's done. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, so one hand in your neck, one hand in your lower back. Imagine or explain to the kids this is the spine, okay? Now when he's holding this position and he's gonna try to become a shrimp, the stick is no longer touching head, shoulder, and hip, which are our 3 reference points. So at all times when we're working with the stick in this position, it has to touch your head, your shoulder, and your hip. So now, let's try and repeat that same movement one more time. Holding the stick, lean forward. Looks easy, right? Should be. Let's try. Remember, you don't want to create robots. So sure, this is in preparation so that we stabilize the hip, that we see a good landing, but you don't want to create robots. So you can always continue. You know what to do. Yeah. Okay, remember it has to be touching the hip, the shoulder, and the head. That was really good, by the way. Yeah. Okay, let's do one more time. Yeah, one more time. Now the next one, if I had 2 balls, I would let them do it by themselves, okay? Now I have 1 ball, so I want to be a little bit more efficient. Let's put the stick away. Thank you. Come stand in front of me. So I have the ball over my head. One leg is up. If I'm right-handed, I'm standing on my left leg, the leg I land on, okay? I'm gonna put the ball up and I'm gonna slam it as hard as possible down against the floor. Boom. And you're gonna grab it. Now, I want to end up again in that straight position. No shrimp, straight, kick leg. Yeah, and you do the same thing. Hop, nick up, and push, down. Yep, and hold, good. And push, oh, out of balance. And I get back. And push. Stable. Yeah, come take over for me. Come take over for me. Do the same. Yeah, let's go. Allow the space to discover the movement. That's very nice. Imagine that's your surf landing. That would be really good. Let's do one more. Okay, let's grab the stick back. We're running forward really quick. Yep, let's grab a stick. And now we're gonna go back to that very impressive first exercise that you gentlemen liked. Grab it, grab it, grab it, grab it, come on. We only have a few minutes left. Your sister is signaling. Okay, stick above the head. So I'm gonna be serving from feet together. I'm gonna bend my knees, loading face, and I'm gonna push forward, and hopefully I can stand straight because I did all of that preparation before. Yep. And let's go. 5 times, rather quickly, land in. Think of your serve. Okay. Why do I turn the stick to my left hip? Scream it. Why do I turn the stick to the left hip? Anybody? Balance, good. Again, anything else? Balance, because that's gonna help me stay intact. Most important, what do I play tennis with? Racket goes to the left hip, right? To the opposite hip. Go. Bravo. That's very good. One more time. Yep, because you are left-handed, it's going to be right hip, right? You're going to jump, and it's going to turn in here, just like with the racket. Now, to confuse them, but also, again, to introduce more sensory learning, I'm going to ask them to turn around and do the same thing with the non-dominant side. Oh, God. Yes, hold it. Yeah. And let's go. Do the same thing to the opposite direction, exactly. Yep. Feet together. Hop, jump, right leg. Very good. Very good. That's okay. Keep trying. Keep trying. Stick up. Feet together. Jump. Turn in. Okay. Let's see if any of this worked. Do you have your rackets with you? Let's serve a few balls. So depending on which stage, I'm almost done. No, I'm done. I'm done. 20 seconds. Yeah. Okay. So I'm being rushed. I'm sorry. Let's serve a few balls. So depending on which stage of the serve, you're going to be working with your athlete. Where we only took 1 stroke today because, as you see, there's not even enough time for a serve. Let's serve. You can use any of those. So, okay, we're not jumping forward. That's okay. You don't have to serve the first serve right away as a first, you know, like super hard. It can be just going in the court. Depending on the stage of the stroke, right, on the phase, on what I want to work with my player, I can use any of those drills, or I can use all of them together. I've put them in the sequence because we were going from transfer to push to landing, okay, from first to the last. But if you have a player that serves pretty decent, but they cannot land stable in the court, you might just choose to work with one. Bravo. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. We're finished. Well done, guys.
Let's open up for Q&A. Daria, you're still needed on court.
Sorry.
Any questions?
You told us that every drill should be done with the dominating hand. What are the physiological reasons behind this? I could not understand the physiological reason behind this.
Okay, so there is quite a lot of research done on the fact that when we reproduce movements with our non-dominant arm, it stimulates our brain differently, so it helps us be more efficient with our dominant arm. I was told yesterday by somebody that there was a practice in Madagascar to make all players play only with left, because that's what they believed back in the 80s. I don't say do that. I don't say play only with non-dominant arm. I say do the movements with a non-dominant arm as well to help the dominant arm, to help your main movement be more efficient and more detailed, okay? Because that's how the proprioceptive sensitivity is developed, yeah? That's how one of those senses is developed, yeah? Thank you.
We've got another question. We'll get you the mic.
Hi, I want to ask, like, at what age would you recommend for them to start doing this exercise?
Yeah, so we were talking, that's why we looked at the long-term development pathway. So we're talking here about primarily players under 12, under 14. Okay? You will, of course, do on-court physical also with older players, with performance players, 16, 18, pros, whatever. They all do on-court physical training. But we don't start before 7, 8, I would say. So depending on the player, when they're already transiting from green to yellow, that's pretty much the moment when you're going to start introducing the tennis-specific physical, like that. But I'm working right now on the young development program with red, orange, and green balls. And we do some integrations of this in the tennis practice as well. So, for example, if we're going to have 6 kids, age of 6, maybe instead of going to the hand-fed drills, they're going to throw the balls to each other in the beginning of the session, okay? Just throwing. So it's going to be simpler, but these foundations you can start laying slowly from that age. But this, what we saw, 12, 14, yeah?
One more question, maybe? Anyone? Last one, maybe, for the day? For Daria.
Hello. When the player is in a what do you call this? Let's just say a waiter position in the serve. Do you go back to these exercises for it to correct without saying the technique itself, like segmented it?
Do I understand correctly? You mean if I'm working technically on the serve?
No. If the player is in a waiter serve, do you go back with this kind of exercises?
Yeah. It doesn't depend on choice of which serve you're doing, right? The overhead throw is just simplified serve, no matter what stance you're using. Okay. The same with the warm-up drills when we're looking at open stance and closed stance shadowing. It doesn't matter what kind of player you have, if they're more aggressive or they're more a defensive player or they're all court. It's more about the foundation that you lay. So I prefer my players under 14 to be able to serve from this position, from platform serve, from waiter serve, to be able to do all of them, and moreover, even to be able to serve with their non-dominant arm. So the more variability, the better. Yeah? Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Daria, for that insightful session.
Can we collect quickly the goals?
We will begin very, very shortly as soon as we set up the court.
Question? Just can you Ready? I'm ready.
Okay, we now have the ITF Development Officer for Western Central Asia, Mr. Amir Borge, joining us. He's an ITF CHP coach, and he's conducted several seminars, ITF CBI and CAP courses. He's educated hundreds of coaches in his region, and he clearly wins Best PPT. So let's give a very, very warm welcome to Mr. Amir Borge as he presents biomechanics from theory into practice.
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks to the Asian Tennis Federation for organizing and also inviting us to this first edition of the Asian Coaches Workshop. Thanks to PHILTA for hosting, and thanks to you for the passion and interest to join this educational workshop in Manila. I start with basically, this is my, not the first slide. I just started with, to add this beautiful picture of Manila. I think many of the coaches are coming from this beautiful city, so we just start with this energy from your city. I think biomechanics is one of the interesting, always one of the interesting topics for the coaches in the coaches workshops and seminars, courses around the world. That's why I chose this topic for today. And I hope this presentation would answer some of your daily questions related to your on-court work. Good, we have this screen here, but then I have to get close to the... So, what we're gonna cover in the presentation today, I've included some keywords and then underlined the important stuff. So we're gonna review the role and importance of biomechanics, understand technique versus mechanics, advantages, coordinated versus unit movement, then I'm gonna explain them later. What does heavier stroke in tennis mean? This is usually a question. What is heavier stroke and how players can play heavier strokes? Comparison of traditional modern ready positions in tennis, knowledge of effective backswing. So this is a part of the strokes. And the stroke production using GBA and some popular myths in tennis, followed by some drills that I'm gonna show practically. Starting with the role and importance of biomechanics, so my first question, I'm going to ask a few questions to you throughout my presentation. So does anyone want to explain or define biomechanics? 10 seconds, 20 seconds? What does it mean, biomechanics? What does it refer to? Yes, please. People, balance, inertia. Okay, opposite force. So this gentleman referred to some elements of biomechanics. Does anyone else want to say like what biomechanics means? Yes, the lady over there. Something related to body, to the strokes. So basically, we can say very simply that's the knowledge of a study of movement. Okay, it can be human movement. It can be even you can study the nature of the movement of a horse, or maybe something else. So basically, we can say like that's the study of movement. It leads to better analysis of movement. So for you as tennis coaches, knowing the principles of biomechanics, you would be feeling easier and more comfortable to analyze the movement rather than following the traditional ways of copying the models, communication of manner and points to the players. Again, knowing the principles, another advantage is that it makes it easier for the coaches to talk, to communicate to the players. Because sometimes, just an easy example, sometimes when you ask the player to take the racket further back, and the player doesn't knowing the reason why she should take the racket back, especially at maybe at the younger ages, so it's not easy to convince the player. But knowing the principles, it makes your communication easier with the players. And it gives the best opportunity to the player to minimize the risk of injury. So knowing the principles leads to minimizing the risk of injury. Technique versus mechanics. I think you should understand the difference between two important words. Stroke technique, the features, cosmetics of the stroke. Considerably important in traditional teaching methods. So whenever we talk about concepts like backswing, forward swing, contact point, follow through, is basically we are talking about the cosmetics, about the features. Whereas when we talk about the stroke mechanics, I think most of you, or many of you, you have taken the ITF courses, and this word, this acronym biomech should be familiar to, should be known to you, like what the words that this gentleman mentioned. And these features refer to modern tennis pedagogy and refer to game-based approach. So when we talk about the racket take back, or when we talk about, let's say, backswing, we consider stuff like elastic energy, we consider stuff like racket displacement. So we are not talking only about the cosmetics, but we are talking about things in more depth and things more practical at the same time scientific way. Two different and very important notions. What does coordinated versus unit movement mean? I think this is very important for coaches to understand these two elements and understand the differences. Just looking at me, I would just try to show what does unit movement or unit turn mean. Just imagine that I'm at the net and I'm playing forehand volley. If you consider me and the body segments, if you consider me moving all the body segments at the same time, moving the leg or moving the upper body and the arm at the same time, so basically I'm following a unit movement. So some body segments moving at the same time is called unit movement or unit turn. So basically I'm moving everything at the same time. The trunk is moving at the same time with the hand. So this is unit turn or unit movement. And the coordinated movement, if you move the body segments in order, not at the same time, one after each other, like for example, if I move my hand and the trunk, not at the same time, different time, if I start, let's say in forehand, if I start turning the trunk first, followed by the movement of the arm, I'm basically following a coordinated movement. Why it is important to know these two and to know the differences, we would just go down to see why in the table. So let's categorize the tennis strokes to two types. The first one, let's call them more speed or power strokes. Things like ground strokes and serve, so forehand, backhand, serve. Maybe the ultimate goal of high-level players, performance players, would to play faster. So let's call them speed or power shots. And then maybe we would call the other ones precision. Things like drop shot, things like maybe some types of volley. So we can put them in the category of more precision. So if your goal is to apply more speed, if your goal is to play faster, you can just try to use coordinated movement or sequential movements more. But on the other side, if you're looking for more simpler, more precision, then maybe unit movement could be a better adaptation. What does heavy mean in tennis? It's always a question from the players. Coach, how can I play faster? How can I play heavier? So can you answer to this question? What does heavy mean for you in tennis? Answers. Or it could be a question from the coaches. How can we make our players to play heavier? So what does heavy mean to you? This gentleman is always ready. Yes, go ahead. More flexible? Well, I think flexibility is not directly related to heaviness. Yes? putting a little weight to the impact, fast, more spin, a spin. You see, your power, you are just, you are using some interesting words. Let's put these words together. Let's put these words together and then see what does heavy mean here. So basically, heavy does not mean fast and does not mean a spin by itself. So these, if you combine fast and a spin, so this is what is been said on the first line, amount of spin on the ball and the speed of the ball. So if Nadal plays a heavy forehand, means Nadal plays a fast and at the same time a spinny forehand. So it's not just a fast forehand, or it's not just a spinny forehand. It's a combination of a speed and a spin, which is created a heavy forehand. Some interesting statistics. Flat serve of some college players has been studied. You see, even the flat serve of players has a lot of rotation. Professional players more flat serve, and then the conclusion is that pro players do not really use flat or completely flat shots in their game. So it's a combination of speed and spin. Another important question. That's always a question. Players and maybe by the coaches, the ready position. This is one of the first things that you might be concerned, or that's one of the first things that you might also work on with your players. So traditional ready position, whereas the modern ready position. So can you explain what do we mean by traditional, what do we mean by modern ready position? Let's start with traditional. What does it mean, traditional ready position? Or maybe I should make it more simple. If I ask you to explain the ready position in tennis, how do you explain the ready position? Stay straight. Straight. Yeah, static. Position like this. And well balanced. What else? So basically you're referring to a static traditional ready position. Okay, do you have anything else about the traditional ready position before we move on to the next? So more a static, showing the player to position balanced. Okay, what about the next one? What are some features or differences of the modern ready position? Semi-Western grip. I think grip is something else. It's not. So basically, we are referring to the dynamic position. Anything else? I think that's going to be very important to understand the differences, and then to apply it on a daily coaching basis. So let's see some features of the more recommended ready position details. Number one, situational. Baseline return of serve following an advance to the net. When the player moves from the baseline to the net. So ready position is completely situational. We don't have like a fixed one type of ready position for everywhere. For baseline game, for return of serve, the ready position could be very different depending on the situation. Number two, determined by game style, personality of the player. So maybe my ready position would be a bit different compared to your ready position, depending on my game style. And number three, two important features of an appropriate ready position. To be balanced, as you said, because we need mostly dynamic balance, maybe less static balance because the game is all moving. So more dynamically balanced. And second one is to be significantly active. Significantly active. So if you keep it significantly active, it means that you make it easier for yourself to overcome the inertia faster. Elastic energy. Again, another interesting topic. Stretch, shorten cycle. I think you are all familiar with the concept of elastic energy, the mechanism of muscle movement. So basically, we have the stretch, shorten cycle, which is like happening all, like me moving even my fingers. This stretch, shorten cycle. This cycle is being repeated. So tennis is full of stretch, shorten cycle activities. Racket and upper body rotation, backswing. So backswing is like stretching my big muscles here, followed by shortening the muscles, which is like leading to storing and releasing the energy, and leading to the storage of energy, leading to hitting the ball and obviously hitting the ball faster. You see some good stuff there, so important stuff there. Delay before movement reversal should be kept minimum. Speed of a stretch should be fast. I think that's important to just emphasize them. So the delay from at the end of backswing, or the delay before you start moving the racket to the ball, should be kept minimum. It's not like you spend, and a lot of time we see this in kind of introductory or beginners level coaching, that the coach asks the player to prepare too early, or maybe prepare and run to play the next shot, which is not really ideal. Maybe the player needs a little bit of pause here for harmony or for coordination, but then this should be really kept short, not really long. And the speed of stretch should be fast, so it's not like you do it slow. So for elasticity reasons, the speed should be kept fast. And ultimately, it leads to 10 to 20% of additional racket speed, which is great. So just imagine 10 to 20 additional speed, plus the 7% that Jonathan mentioned for breathing. So it's going to be something between 20 to 30% additional speed. At least you have two takeaways, one mental and one biomechanical. So some keywords highlighted here. I think they're important. Strict imposition of certain grips is not recommended. If the coach is really familiar with the biomechanical stuff, with the principles of biomechanics, then you realize that the strict imposition of grips, stance, those sorts of things are not really recommended. Then everything depends on some other stuff that I have mentioned, like individualized models, physical characteristics, relate the biomechanics, movements and biomechanical stuff to tactical intentions. Very important to relate them to game situations and tactical intentions. Again, for the ones who have taken the ITF courses, you know that the ITF courses, the tests and stuff start with an open situation. And that's why the ITF courses follow exactly the same model we are presenting here. So everything starts with open situations, and really semi-open or open situations are really recommended. And using realistic drills. So using realistic drills is, sometimes coaches use non-realistic drills. So tactically speaking, if the coach asks the player to run from that corner to play back a drop shot, run back, come and play back the drop shot 5 times, maybe physically speaking, that's going to be a drill. But tactically speaking, this is obviously a wrong tactical drill. So just make sure that your drills are realistic. Some popular myth in teaching technique. There are some things that coaches already doing or already taking them as being correct, but they are not correct, and let's see which are these myths. So, number 1, on a split step, both feet come down from the air and land on the court simultaneously. I think you're all familiar with the split step. This like a short hop or short jump. And something that maybe you have not paid attention to, maybe you have done so, is that the player jumps and lands with both legs at the same time. But the truth is that elite players have a specific landing and foot position. So they have a bit different, using different patterns. So it doesn't mean that they always jump and land at the same time. They have different patterns They use different patterns. Number 2, players should turn their entire body side on the net. Players should turn entire body side on the net. But the truth is that in modern game, players should be able to play on a variety of stance, So it doesn't mean that the player should be fixed on something, some stance. No, variety of stances. Open or score. Again, you see some good percentages. Then obviously you see like a lot of times players use open stance, and so on and so forth. The third myth is good players take the racket back early. And I'm sure this is many times is still being encouraged by the coaches. Take your racket back too early. Body rotation commences before that. So again, I go back to the topic coordinated movement. So if the goal is to create more faster, then it means that you should be careful with this too early preparation. Maybe too early is different compared to early. So effective backswing, looped backswing. Yes, some interesting and useful features of backswing. Try to use more looped. Try to use multi-segment swing. Multi-segment means like this, if you consider the trunk as a segment, shoulder a segment, arm a segment, try to use multi-segment movement. And separation angle, which is number 4. I think one of the very, very good things that, maybe new things that you should learn and work on with your players is using the separation angle. So I can show you on the sticks. If I would be standing on this one, so the position of my legs is this, on the first, or on the stick down there. And if I turn, then my hip and my legs, my hips and my shoulders would have some angle. So you see there is a difference between the rotation. I'm turning my shoulders more than the hips. So I can basically move it a little bit to show the difference between the hips and the shoulders. So if my hips are positioned on this stick, my shoulders can rotate a bit more. So the difference between the rotation of hips and the shoulders around that can help you to really use the concept of elastic energy better and to create faster, to put faster force. Some data, again, I took it from the level 3. So basically, you can see like high performance players, the backswing, the features of backswing, how much they turn on different strokes. Number 4, good players keep their eyes on the ball throughout the contact. I think this is one of the other things that the coaches usually tell the coaches to do. So keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your eyes on the ball could mean that you should follow the ball until the ball is on the racket face, which is not always true. So again, players are kind of focused on some points or some areas, not really the point of contact, but something like 1 or 2 meters ahead of the point of contact. So it's not really always asking the players to follow the ball to the point of contact on the racket, because it's going to be a myth, and the truth is something else. So done with some slides, and I'm going to ask Claire and Angeline to join me. So please give them a round of applause. And they're going to help me with the next drills. So we would start with the first drill using the board. And as we said, no, not now, not later. No. So as we said on one of the slides, I just told you a little bit about the Can you be here, please? Can you, Claire? Angeline, can you be here? Maybe we will start with Claire. So I explained for you the split step and the differences, and I said like advanced players use some specific patterns. So basically, we're gonna show, the purpose of this drill is to show you the two things. So basically, I'm gonna ask the players to, on my signal, to move to one direction, and then start to move to the main direction. So basically, when I ask Claire to move to the right side, she's going to jump to the left side, first, and then move to the main direction. And then two things are important for the drill. So we would start with some showing you first, and then sharing some details. Ready, Claire? Okay, right? Yep. Okay, so she's taking the right side. Yeah, let's continue with Claire. Right again. Yep. Forward. Okay. So basically, the purpose of the drill is to make sure that, Claire, can you be just up on the... So, two things are important. First, I'm asking Claire to jump, to move to one side. Jumping forward, number one, I'm asking her to open up the leg, the inside leg. So basically, I'm asking the player to open up, to turn in the air. So this is the first thing I'm gonna emphasize. And then to move to the direction that she's basically opening up. Ready? Let's do it again. To the right side, right? Yep. Opening up and then moving to the direction. Back on the step. Let's do it again. Let's just see if she's comfortable with this opening up. So left. The other side. Opening up. Yeah, let's do it again. Let's just see if she's opening up the leg. Left. There. Let's do it again, again. So that's a little bit of coordination to find the rhythm. Left. Yep. Open up in the air. Try to open up in the air and to move to that direction. Second, we're gonna see. I know that it's a bit exaggerated because coming off from the board will help the player not to land at the same time. So this height difference will help the player to just basically not land at the same time. And then it will kind of help the player to understand the concept of like legs pushing together, but necessarily landing together. So one leg could touch the ground before the other leg. So let's see. This time, let's see the Angeline. So we're gonna see how you kind of understood the difference between landing early and a bit later. And it's a bit exaggerated because we are using the board, and then later it's gonna find the natural rhythm. Ready? Left. Yep. And then you run to the, yeah. Let's do it a bit faster. Angeline, back on the board. Right. Move. Up. And then move to the right. Again. And then we're gonna see if you open up and at the same time understand the height difference. Right? Up there. Open up. Yeah, try to open up your inside leg. Let's do it again. Try to open up. Left. There. Open up. That's it. Yes, I think we see some little improvement, which means a lot at higher levels. So the next drill, using some tennis balls, I'm gonna just ask them to leave the rackets aside. So just leave your rackets there, or maybe there. And I'm gonna just put this here and here. And I'm gonna give them some options for them to decide. So starting with Claire, I'm just trying to keep the distance, and I just put some conditions for Claire. On the forehand side, if I toss the ball there, she's gonna try this ready position or recommended ready position quickly, and at the same time try to adjust herself so that the ball touches the right shoulder or around here. If the toss ball is short, she's gonna just adjust and make sure that the ball touches around here. Ready? Let's start with some simple ones. Go. Yep. And then at the same time, the player should be attentive to the to the position of the stance. That's it. Yep. So more challenge is coming. Yep. That's it. So if I'm, well, next progression. If I move backward, Claire is supposed to move forward with me. And at the same time, to make sure that she's using another type of resistance. So maybe she would do this. If that's a high ball, to touch with this. If that's a short ball, to touch it here. And then later to open up fast. Okay? So now you have 4 variations. To be there, this and this, or to move forward with me and then to follow two different variations. Ready? Moving. This. If it is considered the short ball, try to use the other one, not this one, the other knee. Ready? Again, I start from here, moving back. That's a high one. So try to use this one, Claire. It's a good challenge. I'm not moving, short. So just try to adopt faster. Ready? I'm not moving, high. Yeah, like this. So try to just make sure that you adjust faster. For me, moving backward, moving forward. This one, use this leg. Come on, moving forward, supposed to use this leg. Forward, forward, forward. That's the short one. Yes, and open up quickly. Ready? Okay. Moving backward. Claire is moving forward. Use this shoulder. So basically you have this, and this, depending on the situation. Short one, standing there. Yep. Moving forward. Short one. That's it, and open up. Next one. Moving forward and opening up. Open up with the other leg. Let's do it again. This one. I'm helping you. Come on. This one. Open up. Yep. That's it. Okay? And just to progress, I would just feed a few more balls, just making sure that they follow the same stuff they learned here and the stuff we practiced on the positioning and stuff. So let's play a few more, maybe Claire, and the next one we do it. So bring your racket. Start everything with the split step, followed by playing either forehand or backhand, and then we want to see the way you position. Ready? Behind the line. Stay behind the line. Back, 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 back. Start. Start with the split step. Start with the split step and those concept of opening the leg in the air, opening the leg in the air. That's it. So, coaches, please look at the right leg. Look at the right shoe. It's a test for Claire. See if she's opening up in the air and she understood the concept of time. Yep. Back there, everything starts. Split, step, split, and then that's it. How is it? Is she now more comfortable with the in the air rotation, with this concept of landing a bit different, and then to position faster? Good. Okay, and then the last drill, I'm gonna show you something which is a little bit fun, but at the same time can be really interesting and useful for the players. So we just need to remove these from the court. Can you just leave this outside? Yeah, everything outside, please. So, let's ask Claire to be on one side, Angelina to play from this side. And I would like to ask them to start playing using the green ball to give them a little bit more consistency in rally. Okay, girls, start playing using the green ball. Let's go. Okay, you start, and then I'm gonna give you some other challenge at the same time. You start hitting the ball. So, what happens here is that by covering the net for some minutes, you're basically, can you play? Just start playing. You're basically challenging the players in different ways. So while they keep hitting, they are basically trying to understand the geometry. Coming? They are trying to understand the geometry of the court while not being able to see the lines and stuff. Okay, stop. Just give me a second. So now, I'm gonna ask Angelina. Angelina, you cannot see this side, no? No, stay there. So I'm gonna ask them to rally on the forehand side, basically forehand. And I'm gonna ask Claire to judge. So basically, if the ball is inside, she would say yes. If the ball is outside, she would loudly say no. And based on yes, no, which is the feedback from this player to that player, Angelina is going to kind of guess what sort of shape we have on the other side. So it's like a good consistency drill, and at the same time, a challenge for the player to understand and tell us more about their space. Yes? Please. Start. Yeah, you just play your normal, game. And yeah, Claire, can you be a bit louder, please? So you're trying to, yes, yes, no, yes, no, okay, stop. Angelina, stay there, stay there. Can you guess what sort of shape we have on the other side? Based on the feedback? It can be a triangle, can be a square, can be lines.
Two parallel lines.
Two parallel lines. This way? Or this, like this?
Like this.
Okay, good. So this is like a good guess. Give her a round of applause. Well done. Okay, let's do it from the other side. Okay, now this is another challenge. Maybe there is another shape there. Okay, you help her with the feedback? Yep, so consistency, and at the same time, the player is trying to, is an absolute no. Coming. Claire, let's help her. No. 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 Come on, Angeline. Yeah, come on. Still no? Okay, stop. Maybe the challenge, maybe we should make the challenge a bit easier for that player. I'm sure you are familiar with optimal challenge, so maybe this challenge was not optimal for that player because we got all no. Okay, let's do it a few more times. Still no? Play a bit faster, maybe deeper. Deeper. Deeper, could be higher. Okay, if you get one yes, then we stop and we will ask you. One more, one more, one more, one more. Oh, come on. Okay, okay, stop. I think here we see that's the matter of challenge, optimal challenge. So because on this side, it was much easier for the player to control the ball in the smaller box. But on that side, although I gave her an easier challenge, but it was not easy to adopt. So that's the matter of making sure that the challenge is enough, but for this player to obviously improve a little bit consistency and more importantly, accuracy on this side. But then, don't forget the advantage of this, because using this, the players cannot see the lines, cannot see the court space, and their brain would really helps them to kind of improve the concepts of space, distance, and more attention. So please give them a round of applause. Thank you. Yes, and by this drill, I'm the end of my presentation. I hope it was something useful. Thank you very much.
Amir, would you like to take some questions right now?
Yes, by all means.
Anyone?
I think everyone is waiting for lunch.
Yes?
Hungry for lunch.
Okay, lunch break. Ah. Okay, is it a question? Could you?
Thank you, Amr, for this presentation. And I think my question stems from biomechanics that you talked about, and you mentioned the game-based approach as well in the beginning. So my question is that game-based basically means that it's a live ball training. The players are hitting the live ball the way they were hitting there. And all the 5 game situations, it's basically live ball training. But nowadays there's a debate between the live ball versus dead ball. The dead ball is just like a basket feeding when the fed ball is hit only once and it's not further played out. So I would just wanted, for my information and for the information of all the coaches, if you could just dwell into relationship or the percentage of dead ball versus live ball training, and as to why the live ball or the game-based approach is superior to the dead ball training. So that's my question.
Thank you, Mahbub Khan. I think this is a very, very good and important question. If this question, let's say, if this question comes from a parent, because sometimes parents are looking for short-term achievements. So they put their kids in tennis, and then you're looking for a 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year quick achievements. Answering to that question, you should explain in this situation, you should explain for the coach or for the parents that they can, using more close situations, focusing a lot on technique, the kid might take some quick results or short-term results. But in the long term, in the long run, those kids or those players practicing in more open situations would be more creative. So it's the matter of challenge and solving the challenge. Problem, solving the problem. So if you give multiple problems or multiple challenges to a kid to solve, in the long run, they would be more creative to find their own solutions or multiple solutions for different challenges. Whereas if you work more closed, basket and stuff, then you are kind of closing them to dealing with only maybe one challenge or a couple of challenges. So I think in terms of a skill acquisition, in terms of long-term development of skills and learning and creativity, those open situations are more recommended. Maybe sometimes basket and more closed, just a few times, not always. And obviously the percentage should be like more and more open versus closed situations.
Thank you. We'll just take one more, I think.
Okay, I have one question, Amir, before we have lunch. Okay, you were talking about separation angle for a while ago. My question is, if you want to hit the ball harder, more power, more speed, how else can you do it aside from the bigger separation angle?
Thank you, Roland. I think this is also another important question. Always, your players asking why, let's say Nadal plays so heavy and I cannot play so heavy. How can I play at least heavier than what I am? Maybe not Nadal's level, but at least heavier. There are so many different ways, and I think I should emphasize that sometimes you see like small players, physically small players, and you see a lot of power coming out. So what's the source of this power? It's not basically physically. It's not all coming from good physical preparation. It comes from good mechanics or appropriate mechanics. So let's not forget that appropriate mechanics is very crucial. It's not like I go to the gym, I do a lot of good physical preparation to make my forehand faster. No, first thing is appropriate mechanics. So things like separation angle, I just said it, racket displacement, the distance between the distance that the racket flies before hitting the ball. Things like straight shortened cycle, this sequential movement. So all of them are very important parameters. You can just work around, and maybe one could take up to few weeks of work to just improve and lead to some final input to the faster forehand or backhand or some other strokes.
Super. Thank you so much, Amir, for that powerful
you.
session. We'll break for lunch and come back here at 1:30. As close to 1:30 as possible. I know we've run a little late, but we do want to respect the flow of the sessions and the next speaker. So enjoy your lunch and see you back here 1:30.